Mr. President, in the remaining time I have, I want to talk about a champion for a better and smaller government and an opponent of all job-killing regulations. And in addition to that, a good friend and advisor of mine, someone that many of us served with in the House, Mel Hancock, who was my predecessor in the House, where he served 4 terms because that was his pledge, that was the most he'd served. He really was much more than a politician. Mel Hancock was truly the citizen legislator, the individual who got into government only to make government better. He learned his ins and outs of the political system by developing a philosophy about taxes and government long before he came to Congress, and frankly, long before that philosophy became the philosophy that's so prevalent today. Living in rural Stone County, Missouri, Mel Hancock had a profound influence from his father, John Hancock, and he spoke, John Hancock did, about the concerns of a growing and intrusive federal government. The power to tax is the power to destroy, Mel Hancock remembered hearing his father say, and he didn't hold public office until 1989. He sold farm equipment while he was in college. He spent 10 years in the insurance business, where he became well known to many small business owners. In 1969, he started his own business, a business called Federal Protection, a security business. But in 1977, when Proposition 13 passed in California, he became the person that drove that issue in our state. 1 year later, in 1978, he and his wife, Shug, around their kitchen table, formed a group of people that began to fight the idea of an over-regulating, overtaxing government. In 1980, in our state, voters passed something called the Hancock Amendment that was one of the first state tax limitation amendments in the United States. Mel Hancock developed this amendment using the formula that limits total state revenue and expenses in Missouri to percentage of personal income of the residents of the state. It also required new local taxes, licenses, or fees to be approved by voters in political subdivisions. But his public service didn't stop there. He ran for Congress when our local congressman retired. He announced his candidacy. He won a crowded primary. He declared his intention to serve only a brief amount of time, and in fact then went on to be an advocate for term limits for the Missouri State Legislature as well. During his first 3 terms in the Congress, he served in the minority, but a sea change in 1994 took him to the majority, but it didn't change his pledge to be there only 4 terms. And so he got exactly what he wanted in the new Congress, a seat on the Ways and Means Committee, and he walked away from that 2 years later, keeping his pledge to Missourians. A lifelong Republican, Mel built a reputation that reminded many of another Missourian as his campaign theme became, "Give 'em Mel." And through his work in Washington, Missouri, he was decidedly ahead of his time. He rolled up his sleeves and went to work using the initiative process to protect citizens and taxpayers, and always remembering where he came from. He was most devoted to his family, his wife, Shug, who he always called the boss, and his greatest pride was his children and later his grandchildren. He went right to work here. Give 'em Mel became part of Washington. Mel Hancock often said, every day in America, we decide between more government and less freedom, or more freedom and less government. Mel Hancock could be counted on to always be on the side of more freedom. And I didn't go to his memorial service today because I decided the best way to recognize his legacy was to be here and vote against these 2 rules that he certainly would oppose if he was still in the Congress, and I yield back.